Ari Louis Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ari Louis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. At any time, you can email the program, arilouisshow@hotmail.com, or you can email the station, Israel Sports and News Radio, gmail.com. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so through PayPal, israelsportsradio@yahoo.com. Again, that is different from the station name, so I'll say it again. israelsportsradio@yahoo.com is the PayPal name. A lot of information is needed, of course, around Israel, around Jerusalem, especially around the German colony area. On the line right now, a man who is part of that information process, letting people know what's going on, letting people know about different events, the founder of Israel K, Benjy Singer. Benjy, how you doing out there?
Hi, Ari. How you doing? Good to speak.
Yes, indeed. Great to have you on the program. So tell us, first of all, how did you go about this concept? How and why did you decide to create Israel K?
Well, firstly, Ari, it was initially called My Shtibluch. I started My Shtibluch as a Facebook page about 2.5 years ago in my bedroom about 1 o'clock in the morning. People were continually asking me, especially Liam, what's going on, what events are going on, what shirim are going on, what's going on for Shabbat. And, of course, these details we take for granted growing up in the diaspora. When you make Aliyah to Israel, it's hard to find out this information. So I started getting going on trying to formalize this information, trying to put it all on one platform. So it starts off as my Shtibluch on Facebook and as Twitter, but then it sort of got transformed into Israel K. The website was called israelk.org, and I've also got a newsletter. That's about it.
All right, tell us about the day-to-day activities. What needs to be done to maintain and update Israel K?
That's a good question. Firstly, you've got to edit the information already on the website. Times of shirim and events always changing. Secondly, you've got to post new information. And thirdly, I'm always in touch with my graphic designer and the website designer, because always there are technical things that need to be sorted out.
And how do you go about finding news? Do people contact you and say, hey, Benjy, there'll be an event this week, put it on your site? Or do you ask around, or do you have people that work for you that tell you about this information?
That's a great question. Firstly, I'm in contact with all the communities and shuls in the area, the secretaries, the rabbis. They tell me information. But secondly, I have to ask people for information. For instance, the question is, will there be snow tonight? Will there be snow tomorrow? It's New Year's Eve. People need to know. So I contact other people who either weather forecasters or people who run Facebook pages that deal with information. The other thing is tonight's New Year's Eve, so I did listings of what's going on both in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And for that, I also had to be in touch. I had to ask people what's going on, where they're going, especially in the Tel Aviv scene. I'm not really in touch with people on a day-to-day basis, so I have to call people and message them, and they hopefully tell me what's going on.
And tell our listeners some things that might surprise them about things that come up that you encounter running Israel K.
Well, that's a good question. Firstly, what could surprise them is the broad spectrum of people I cater for. Olim, Israelis, old people, young people, religious, secular. People ask me all types of questions. What's going on? You know, people, what time davening is on Friday, early Fridays. What is going on Motzei Shabbat? What singles events are going on? We just had Hanukkah, so people always asking me, for instance, what time is Hanukkah lighting at Mamilla? Who's playing that evening there? Secondly, contemporary things going on in Jerusalem. Hopefully we're at the end of this bout of terror, and people ask me, where can you buy pepper spray? So I did a whole listing of where you can buy pepper spray, and that listing actually went viral. Tens of thousands of people saw it. And thirdly, I've been doing listings of smachot, good news listings every week, and again, that's very popular. People want to know what's going on. They want to know what's happening with their friends, and people therefore they check up what's going on and they tell me what to include in that listing.
And tell the listeners some of your goals long term. What do you see with the site down the road, 5-6 years down the road? What do you envision?
Well, that's an interesting question. Firstly, I want to carry on doing what I'm doing, hopefully do it well. That's basically telling people about events going on, what's machot happening in our community, what shirim are going on. But secondly, I'm going to hopefully carry on expanding it into the area of jobs, into the area of rentals, especially if people coming here from abroad. And thirdly, again, building on the content, because one aspect of the website of israelk.org is information about what's going on, shirim, events, especially events for singles and retirees, but secondly, developing the content side of the website. In other words, on Parshat HaShavua, contemporary things going on in Israel, things are going on in the diaspora, that type of thing.
Again, we're speaking with Benjy Singer here on the Ari Louis Show on Israel Sports and News Radio. He is the founder of Israel K. So talk a bit about some of the problems maybe that come up, because you talk about the activities, things you have to do. It's obviously a lot of work.
Right. That's a very good question.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So firstly, just the website israelk.org. Israel K, I just want to clarify, turning Israel into your kehillah. The idea of Israel K is that the idea is it's an online community, like an online magazine, a community magazine, a portal of what's going on. So just problems, I guess. The first thing is making sure the information is accurate. Often you get information, it's not accurate, you see on other websites, and those websites just copying from other places they've seen. So the first issue you have to do is you have to make sure the information is accurate. The second problem or challenge is actually finding out who your demographic is. Who are the people looking at your website and what do they want to know about? The third issue is obviously learning how to deal with other websites who do similar things, because obviously in Jerusalem I work with Dina Levenstein, I work with Joanna Shebson, I work with Zev at Janglo, I work with Hannah Khan, who runs the gift program. And we'll have to learn to specialize in what we do and work together. So I guess it's not stepping on other people's toes and making sure what you're doing and doing best. A fourth problem is obviously learning about the different communities in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and learning about what programs they offer, what events they have going on, and learning who the contact person is. And again, learning how to deal with the different communities, because obviously you're dealing with different personalities. You're dealing with Israelis, you're dealing with Americans, you're dealing with English. So you've got to a lot of people skills needed to know how to get the information and how to deal with people, and how to make sure they'll give you information in the future.
And outside of the website itself, do you have a Facebook social media presence?
Yeah, I do. I have a social media presence. It's actually people who work in social media, they have to try to distinguish between their professional social media presence and their personal social media presence. I got a pretty active Facebook page, which you can find. You can connect with me on Benjy Singer. But I've also got, as I said, the My Stieblach Facebook page, spelt My Stieblach, MyShteiblech. We have a Facebook page. We have two Facebook groups. One's for Jerusalem and one is for Tel Aviv. And we also, I haven't mentioned it, we have Israel K Facebook groups. We have the Israel K Job Center. We have the Israel K Bet Midrash. And we also have the Israel K Zivug Zone. I want to talk about the Israel K Zivug Zone for a second. That's a very popular group. Basically, I list singles events going on. Singles events going on Motzei Shabbatot, on Friday after nights, because the winter Shabbat comes in early now, also during the week. So if you're single and you're looking for people and you're looking to connect with new people and find new people, so look on the Israel K Zivug Zone Facebook group, and hopefully you'll find about events going on there. On the groups, on the Israel K Bet Midrash, on the Israel K Job Center, and on the Israel K Zivug Zone, as well as the My Stieblach Facebook group for Jerusalem and the My Stieblach group for Tel Aviv. Anyone who's listening is always welcome to join the group and post relevant events, post information, and I'll be happy to approve what you want to share with the community.
Again, we're speaking with Benjy Singer here on the Ari Louis Show on Israel Sports News Radio. He is the founder of Israel K. Benjy,
Israelk.org. Israelk.org.
Yes, Israelk.org. So, Benjy, why do you think that there is not another website like yours? I mean, you're basically the first one to come up with something like this, correct?
Correct. There are other websites. As I've said, I work closely with Joanna Shebson at Fun in Jerusalem, with Zina Levenstein at Things Going On in Jerusalem, with Zev, my good friend Zev at Janglo, as well as with Hannah Khan, who works for Gift. And we all try to specialize in what we do. How is Israelk.org the website, and which is my Stieblach on the Facebook? How is it unique? I guess firstly, the information I present is fresh, it's accurate, and it's very up to date. For instance, yesterday, Rob Doniel Schreiber cancelled his shir because he has to come from Alon Shvut to Jerusalem. He cancelled his shir literally half an hour before the shir. And I was told by someone, and I immediately updated the Facebook page and the listing I did on Israelk.org, and people knew. So the first way that the Israelk.org is unique is because the content is fresh, accurate, and very up to date. Secondly, I do try to position it to cater for the religious Zionist community, both in Israel and abroad, because that's my angle. In other words, I wrote a very interesting article today you can find on Israelk.org about should foreign people celebrate New Year's Eve? It's a very interesting topic. But again, I try to keep to the religious Zionist / modern Orthodox angle and position. And thirdly, I guess it's unique because I do try to cater for the singles community as well as for the retired community. Because generally I find, apart from over the Chagim, married people with kids in their 40s and 50s, they don't really have time to look on websites. And they're too busy looking after their children and families. But generally singles in their 20s and 30s and retirees, they have more time. And therefore I specifically cater when I'm writing up what's going on for singles as well as retirees. And I do have partnerships with the communities and institutions in Jerusalem. For instance, I have partnerships with the OU Center. I have partnerships with the Emek Learning Center and Emek Rafaim. I have partnerships with Pardes. I also have partnerships with the Eretz Chemda community. And I also have partnerships with very influential institutions. For instance, Yeshivat Har Etzion, which where I studied for a few years. I have partnership with them. Rav Meish Tarragon and other Rabbanim, Rav Alex Israel, they send me their content, what they've written on the Parasha and the Chagim, and I'm always happy to post that. And they're happy to feature what I'm doing in their newsletter. I also am close with the Ramban community, the Akara community, as well as the Shir Hadash community. So basically, thank God I'm quite well known, and I'm always ready to help communities, and often they're always ready to help me. One more point is that communities in diaspora, especially in England, where I'm from, also Australia and South Africa, and my friends in New York, they also send me content information to post, and they also tell their congregants and their friends to use the website. So I'm trying to not only grow within Israel, I'm trying to also present content that's relevant for Jews abroad by reporting on what's going on in Israel and what's going on in the politics there, and especially around the Chagim time. As I said, over Hanukkah, I wasn't just posting events going on in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. I was also writing. I had friends of mine who were writing for instance, each day of Hanukkah, a different friend of mine wrote a reflection of what Hanukkah means to them on my Israel K website. And those posts were read not just by people in Israel, but also people abroad. So again, I'm trying to expand it, not just to people living here, but also to different communities abroad in Britain, in Australia, in South Africa, and in the States.
All right, there you have it. Everybody could find out more by going to israelk.org. My guest this afternoon has been Benjy Singer. He is the founder of israelk.org. Benjy, thank you for being on the program.
Thanks, Yanar. If anyone wishes to contact me directly, either to post content or tell me about events or to make a donation, please email me on Benjy Singer. That's BenjySinger, Benjy Singer @israelk.org. Thank you very much, Ari.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is another episode of the Ari Louis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Stay well, God bless, and stay safe.